Hey guys, it's Will here. If you've been following my videos, you know that I kind of look at uptrends and higher highs and higher lows. I've got these little lines here. And I like the stocks and ETFs to be above the 50. And I like the 21 EMA, exponential moving average, to be above the 50-day moving average. So some of these, like IWM, the Russell, is a little bit sketchy just because it's a bit below the 50 right now, the 21. And we have, you know, a lower high, but we haven't really established a lower low. That would be a breakdown of this place here, this support level. S&P is really high, really good. It looks kind of extended, you know, in terms of getting in. I would like to see it pull back if getting in a new position. But the SPY, the Dow, you know, pretty strong. For the tech, like the growth stocks in particular, ARK has been coming back a higher low, but we haven't established really a higher high yet. I mean, we do sort of have it here, but I want to break through a previous high. So we're close and we're not above the 50. So in the 50 sloping downward. So I'd like to see the 21 break up above the 50 ideally sloping upward. So that might require, you know, a pullback after the initial rise. But if we look at something like Jets here, we had a lower high here, but we didn't break down below this previous low. And so that's what I'd be looking for a total change of trend. So when you get that first initial lower high, it's not the end of the uptrend, but you know, you need to see a break of that previous low. And so we had the support yesterday at the 50, which is a good sign. So there's, you know, a chance that we'll see continued up movement here. But you know, right here you can see how we had these higher lows and higher highs, and that's the bulk of the uptrend. But sometimes you get these, you know, other intermediate points, so it's not quite definitive at this point. If you want to get a free trial of TC2000, which is what I'm using, check out the link in the description below the video, and you can get $25 off if you decide to purchase the monthly membership. I'm on the gold plan, and I also have US real-time data. But so when you're looking at stocks and you see like an uptrend and everything looks good, you'll be tempted to buy that particular stock or ETF, you know, independently, just because it looks good from a chart perspective. So that's kind of like the first goal, is to get the chart, you know, looking like you want it to be, you know, waiting for that opportunity. But to take it to the next level, you can try to check that the stocks or ETFs are doing better than the S&P 500, like relatively speaking. So on this chart, I have this relative strength line, and ideally you see it increasing, like in an uptrend, like this phase here. So right now there's a bit of a downtrend in the relative strength because of this pullback. And the S&P has been doing really well. So there's a negative section just right here. And that can be helpful when you're looking at stocks like Dow Jones. You know, you're seeing a bit of you're definitely seeing an uptrend. There's a bit of an uptick lately. But for this, I'm going to go to TradingView, just the free version. And here on this chart, I have the Home Builders ITB ETF. So this is great for sectors as well. And I divide it by the SPY, the S&P 500. And you can see that we're above the 50. There's actually moving averages and everything, but this is a ratio of the two ETFs. So the stock is in an uptrend. It's above the 50. The 21 EMA is above the 50. So that is you know, a sign that it's a strong sector. So I'm going to show you something that you might be tempted to buy, such as utilities. And it might be turning around, you know, soon in terms of the relative strength. Like you can see that we've had this uptick here, but the 50 is down sloping, the 200 MA moving average is sloping downward, and we're below the 50 here. And this is the ratio, of course. So generally speaking, we've had these little bumps here. So ideally, if you really want to get utilities like in a longer term situation, like almost like this, you know, you want to see the 200 and the 50 sloping up and above the 50 above the 200. And but you know, it's not been a great scenario for quite some time. So even though the utilities might be perking up, you know, you want to see, in my opinion, a more established uptrend. So it's a bit early, in my opinion. What else can we look at? I have a list of some of the sectors that are doing pretty good compared to the SPY. Oh yeah, the other thing, if you want to look at like the NASDAQ, just to kind of see, you know, it's been a strong sector. So like that was the example I was just talking about. If you see here, the NASDAQ just kicking the SPY's butt, uptrend, 50 above the 200, 21 above the 50. And then, you know, so slight little deviations here, kind of a flat period, and then a breakdown below. And now the 50 is sloping down, but there's a bit of an uptick here. So, you know, I'd want to wait a bit more to see if the NASDAQ is going to reestablish itself, you know, like this as the strong leader. So you can do this with stocks as well. If I type in Tesla divided by SPY, you can see here that even though we had this huge pullback, you know, we're above the 200. So if you want to wait for the 21 to get above the 50 to be sloping up, but you can see how much stronger Tesla was. And if you really want, if you find like a sector that's really strong, then you can compare, you know, your stock or ETF to that as well. So instead of using, like what I'm saying is if you're using the S&P, you might want to find something, if you find something even stronger, you might want to use that, use that as your guide. So for example, if I go ITB divided by the NASDAQ, you know, you can tell it's a bit flatter because of the fact that the Q has been so strong. But right now, the home builders are actually stronger than the NASDAQ because of that recent weakness. You can see that the 50 is above the 200 to 21 EMA, so it's in a nice little uptrend here. And so we'll have to see if that that lasts. But these will give you kind of the strongest stocks in ETFs. So instead of just buying a stock because it looked good on the chart, you want to sort of see what the potential for growth is relative to the S&P 500. Or you can compare any stocks, the relative strength of two stocks, you know, in the same market. So like say you had Tesla, I haven't done this before, but divided by NIO. You can see here that NIO was doing better, like when we have a decline, because Tesla's on the top numerator, and now Tesla's coming back again. So it seems like pretty soon, once we get that crossover, you know, Tesla will be in a superior location, a superior position. But sometimes people try to buy other stocks in that sector to, you know, because it's Tesla's too expensive or something like that, or it's a new stock that they're excited about. But this one period here was where NIO would have outperformed. You can do it the other way. So if you're buying NIO, this would have been a good sign here where we saw this uptrend. So that was around July last year to, depending on where you get out. Hope that helps, guys. We'll talk to you next video. Don't forget you can get TC2000 in the link below the video. See you guys.